and welcome to another Audacious Hot Seat. We have the extraordinary Julie Mauger from Meraki Mindset with us today, and we're going to be talking all about her journey as a coach and an entrepreneur and what she's been doing with her brand and really living her brand. So Julie, to start off with, tell us a little bit about yourself and why you got into starting a business and what your journey's been so far.
Interesting is the short answer to that. Well, I've been in, you probably can tell I'm not a local, so I've been here about 35 years now from the UK. I've been in all sorts of corporate environments, mostly event planning, marketing kind of roles, some not-for-profits. I've also had my own business for about 10 to 12 years here in Australia. And I sold my last business 4 years ago and found myself not very good at having nothing to do. So I was kind of at a loose end, found that, I didn't really know how to do nothing. I was too young to retire. I was 60 and had no idea. I was like, I don't know what I'm going to do. I've just grown up and I don't know what to be when I grow up. So anyway, my brother-in-law suggested that I become a business coach. He was a business coach and he asked me to join his business doing that. But to be fair, one of those businesses that I mentioned was, I'm going to say, an unmitigated disaster. And so I was kind of still recovering from that, I suppose. And I just didn't feel that authentically I was qualified to coach people in business. So, yeah, a little while later, he came back to me and said, how about coaching ladies then? That's what you do. And so, all the time he'd known me, that he reckoned that's what he'd observed me doing, was wherever I'd always been, I'd always ended up coaching. Yeah, I guess I just have a very kind of nurturing style of management, and that's what he'd seen or observed in me. So I thought, okay, that sounds good. I like helping people. I love seeing lights go on for other people, and if I can do that professionally and do it effectively, that's like a bonus. But then I got the notion that I guess this life coaching is the umbrella that I came under. It's very, very competitive. So I needed something that was going to differentiate me, I suppose. And I also felt a little bit uncomfortable because I felt like there were so many people out there with fabulous credentials and great big long, list of qualifications and so on. So I ended up very fortunately meeting up with a lady called Dr. Gina Cleo, who, if anybody watched that recent SBS show with Michael Mosley, what was it called? Australia's Health Revolution. Gina was featured on there as a habit change expert. So I trained with Gina, and so I got the qualification as a habit change coach. So I could put that alongside my nurturing style, if you like, and just gave me that bit of extra confidence, I suppose, that I was qualified to do this thing and I could go out and talk about coaching professionally. So I think that's a long way of telling you how I got here.
I love it. There's some lovely gems in there, though. I love the fact that, you get to a certain point in your life and you go, I should be doing nothing, but I don't know how to do nothing. I know that the lovely Marty Barletta, who's an expert in marketing to women, talks about women at a certain age where we get to, instead of having a midlife crisis, we have a midlife chrysalis. And we have this whole new thing that we start. Because, we start to align our passion with what we do, and it's more than about just earning an income. It's about creating a legacy, which I love, which you've done so well.
So true. I love that. Yeah.
A midlife crisis. But what I love as well is the fact that you've talked about alignment, and that you really have to be in alignment, don't you, when you're doing, especially coaching?
Oh, yeah, without a doubt. Yeah. If it doesn't come from here, then you may as well just be, doing spreadsheets. Is how I look at it. Coaching has to come, in my type of coaching, personal life coaching, life management, mindset coaching, it has to come from a place of heart.
Yes. Yeah. And you have to, you're living your brand as a coach, aren't you? So if you have that incongruence going on, it's going to come across to your clients. So that's really awesome. Yeah. And also, I love the fact that you've talked about something that's really important, I feel, for coaches, is yes, coaches don't like to call themselves coaches. I don't know why. I'm going to write an article about it at some stage, but Because that's what you
Me
are,
too.
really. You're just like a sports coach. You're guiding people through and so on.
Mhm.
But I love the fact that you've found your niche within that industry of coaching, and you've tied in your natural nurturing approach with accountability and overcoming procrastination, which, you know, most people are scared that they're going to get this really mean, nasty coach with a big stick, you know, whacking them constantly. And you sort of flip that on its head. How have you really blended together that, hey, I'm a nice person, I'm nurturing, I'm trying to help you grow, but at the same time, I'm going to keep you accountable? How have you balanced that?
I think it comes out in those first couple of conversations with people when you're working out why they want this change. So, you know, it takes courage to put yourself out there in front of somebody else and tell them that you feel like you've got these issues that you want to address in your life, that you've got some doubts about yourself. I mean, that takes courage. But once we've broken through that and we've actually committed that to paper and we're discussing it, then it's us. So they're doing the work and I'm kind of willing the stick, as you would say. But I basically just keep bringing them back to those goals. So we set some goals, or some people are not even comfortable using the term goals. In fact, one of my clients recently said to me, can we not use the term goals? Because she reckoned whenever she heard the word goals, she got a tightening in her chest, because every time she'd set herself goals, she'd not achieve them, and so she associated the word goals with failure. So I try to use the term outcomes or benefits. What's going to be the benefit of this? And especially if it involves the family, things like losing weight so you can play with your children. You know, we bring it back. So I just keep throughout the process, we just refer to the family, we refer to those goals, refer to those outcomes, and basically pull back, anchor back to where we started. And I think it just helps trigger that move forward.
Yeah, awesome. And I love the fact that even the language that you use with your business reflects on your brand, and it reflects on the fact that you're nurturing and guiding people through, rather than you've got to have goals and KPIs and keeping them accountable by, you know, strict with them. So good.
Yeah, I wouldn't say I'm not strict.
But in a
nurturing
way. Yeah, absolutely. And an empowering way. So it sounds like it's been an awesome adventure and everything's fallen into place beautifully. And, you know, what are some of the challenges, Julie, that you've had to face in growing?
I think, well, obviously it's a very, very competitive market. So having, you know, a lot of competition in that area was one thing. I think the other thing was starting a business from scratch has been really challenging. So just trying to figure out whether I should use software for publishing my program, you know, realizing that sending people PDFs every week was not going to work if I was going to scale up. And I have scaled up, and so I'm grateful now that I actually did implement some software earlier in the year that makes things a lot easier for me. But that took courage on my part, because I had to invest a lot of money and invest a lot of time into setting that all up. So I think in the technical side of setting up a business where everything's online basically these days, that was a real challenge. I think one of the things which I've got to say you probably helped me with the most was just finding my track, or identifying that niche, because I came out of all of that training last year. So I've done applied neuroscience, I've done mental health first aid, I've done habit change, but I've done a couple of other courses, and I came out of that all excited, thinking I can help the whole world. I can help everybody. I've got this system and I'm so nurturing. I thought, yeah, I can do all of this, but obviously I can't reach everybody. And I think that's one of the things that I loved working with you, was that you helped me to really niche down, if you like. And I think that was one of the critical one of the pivots that helped me really kick on, because I'd kind of been floundering, I'd say, up until that point, wasting a lot of time. But being able to niche down and really narrow down who my clients were, and then having finding some of those clients and then getting their testimonials and seeing their results, I was like, God, yeah, this is this was always my niche. I should have gone here first, but I was busy thinking I could be all things to all people. So yeah, that was a challenge. But yeah, finding the right coach in you helped me. So, yeah.
Brilliant. Well, again, what I love about your brand is that you have managed to marry together all of those experiences that you have, the experience. You were an event management expert for many years, hence your ability to organise and structure and get things delivered on time and have that structure and that process behind what you do. But at the same time, your natural skills in coaching and nurturing and guiding came through as well. And that's the nicest thing, isn't it? When you get a brand that all of a sudden you can play to your strengths, then you really are just absolutely firing on all cylinders. So.
Absolutely. Yeah. And even the colours, even the colours that we came up with, and things like that were just like this. Me wearing my colours, it's all tiny little elements that all, it's like putting a recipe together, and all these little things are like all the little special decorative finishing touches, if you like.
Yeah, and that's the stuff that makes you memorable, and people, recall it. That would recall the brand so much easier. So you are listening to the Audacious Agency Hot Seat. We have the fabulous Julie Mauger from Meraki Mindset in the hot seat today. If you like this episode, you can find more of them on our YouTube channel and also wherever you get your podcasts. Just search for the Audacious Hot Seat. And we are also available as a blog, so you can go and read a transcript from this particular interview as well. Now, Julie, you're pretty proud of achieving lots of things. Obviously, you've done lots of credentials, you've got amazing experiences and so on. But what are some of the things that you are really most proud of achieving?
I'd have to say the emails that I get from my clients is really up there. They're the things that kind of really, I've had times where I've been sitting there and just end up in tears myself, because I'm so proud of them, and then I'm really touched that they've taken the time to respond to me. But I think something that's happened this year that's really exciting for me is I'm still a bit bewildered, to be honest, but I ended up being selected in amongst the world's most inspiring businesses for 2021. And I'm pretty sure that's through my association with B1G1, which, if anyone doesn't know what that is, it's Business for Good. And I suggest they look them up. So B1G1, I think I mentioned that I've been involved with lots of not-for-profits in the past. I've had 2 or 3 roles here in Australia with not-for-profit organisations. And I think not-for-profit organisations get a pretty bad rap from time to time, about the high costs of the administration, especially with a lot of international organisations. But what B1G1 does is they vet and review all of the projects that they put up for support. And what I do is, and other people who are members of B1G1, is what we do is, for every new client I get, or for every, I hate the word discovery call, that it gets booked in, I make a commitment to make a donation or support impacts. And my projects are all around women and children and education. So I support projects that empower women to have their own small businesses, for example, things like microloans in third world countries, that kind of thing. So I'm pretty proud of that. My goal this year was 15,000 impacts, and I think I'm around 8. So if anybody wants to call me, I have to keep making those donations every time I get a discovery call booked in, so it could help. So my goal is 15,000 for this year. And I'm pretty proud of that. I like seeing the results that they get, but I would have to say my client results just most recently is my kids are doing pretty good too. I'm proud of them.
I love it. I love it when your clients really come, and family as well. Well, your clients become family, don't they? Which is really, really lovely.
Yeah, so, they do.
I love that though, Julie. This is a business with heart. This is a business with purpose. This is a business that people can connect with. And it's back to living your brand, isn't it? It's what you really are setting out to achieve as a much larger legacy than yourself when you have all those things like involvements with B1, G1, and giving back to the community and so on makes a big difference. So Julie, tell us a little bit about Meraki Mindset. What does Meraki mean, and what is it to have a Meraki mindset?
Well, can I just thank you first for finding that beautiful word for me. Meraki means the soul, creativity and love that you put into something. So it's the essence of yourself that you put into everything you do during your day. So when we came across that word in our process last year, I just kind of melted into it, I think. I just thought, yeah, that's it. That's what I want. I want that combination, that it definitely has to come from it's come from my soul and my heart. And we like to be a little bit creative about things, the way we do stuff. And it's all kind of wrapped up in this one word. So, and obviously mindset is where I came from. I haven't mentioned, but my dad was a world speedway champion, multiple world speedway champion. So I kind of grown up with mindset as a word within our family. Mindset, visualization, positive thinking has just been a way of life for me. So finding that and putting it with Meraki, putting mindset with Meraki just kind of encapsulated everything that I wanted to create in this business. So it was perfect. Thank you for that.
Oh, it was a joint effort. I mean, the brands only come from the people that we work with, but yeah, we knew
we got there.
We knew when we found it, absolutely. And I love it. Yeah. I love that fact that, you know, if you've got a Meraki mindset, you are basically leaving a piece of yourself in every activity that you do. So don't just do something because you have to, you know, put every effort into it, you know, and that's back to not procrastinating and setting those goals or outcomes and getting it done. So Julie, if we could jump in a time machine today and I could go back to Julie before you'd started this business and you're looking at whether you could be a business coach or working with your brother or all these sorts of things, what one bit of advice would you give yourself?
I'd probably say brainstorm your ideas with professionals, really. So, I mean, I spend a lot of time talking with girlfriends about what I should do. You know, and their idea was, we need to go for lunch more often.
I like that. I think that idea is great.
I'm not quite ready. I love going for lunch at the weekends, but I just felt, I wasn't ready for that. And it wasn't until I started talking with people who I would say were still at work or still in professions and discussing my ideas. And having said that, I should be clear. I did have this conversation with a couple of girlfriends who are professional, and they kind of nurtured me, if you like, back. So I had been mentors to them in their work environment when they were younger, and they kind of tipped me, if you like. So my brother-in-law set me on the path, and then discussing with professionals. I think getting professional help and advice, kind of like a mini board of your own, if you like, was really, really helpful.
Yeah, brilliant. And if someone's listening to this episode today and they're thinking, well, you know, I procrastinate a lot, I put things off, you know, I'm not achieving things I should be doing, I'm not really living a full life, what would be a bit of advice that you might give to them? What's the first step to help someone overcome procrastination?
I'd say get that to-do list and tear it up into confetti and start with, what do you need to do today? What can you do today? None of us can do 40 things on a to-do list today. Just think 2 or 3 or 4 things, little jobs that you can do today. And then as you start ticking things off, you start to feel your confidence come back. So don't try and look at the end game, try and break it down. This is my project management, event management brain again. And the habit change technique is to break things down into tiny, tiny little parts and just tick off those tiny little parts and start telling yourself, that's coming. I haven't forgotten you, big outcome goal, but I'm going to get there step by step. And I think a lot of us have really long to-do lists. And some of those things on that to-do list have been on that to-do list for 6 months, and they just sort of haunt you. And they may not even be necessary anymore, those things. They seemed really important at the time when you put them on your list, and now they're not so important. So review the list and then tear it up and then go back to tiny little steps.
Love it. Manageable outcomes is what it's all about, isn't it? Being able to see yourself doing. I love it. Julie, it's been an absolute pleasure to chat with you today.
Thank you.
If you are listening to this episode and you would like to know more about Julie and how to get a Meraki mindset so you get more out of life, there will be a link to her website underneath this episode. Please go and find out all about it. Click that link and discover more about Julie. Go and have a discovery session with her and see if we can get her to reach that outcome of those 15,000.
15,000.
Yeah, B1G1 would really make a huge difference to lots of people's lives. So thank you so much, Julie. It's been an absolute pleasure having you in the hot seat today, and we wish you all the best with the future with your business.